마치게 구단 다기 르 다기 투단 다기 이 마치게 투단 다기 이
Father, your holy mind and my mind. Mother, your holy mind and my mind.
마치게 틀레 다기 레 마치게 연된 다 연된 마치게 연된 다 연된
Father, your holy qualities and my qualities. Mother, your holy qualities and my qualities.
마치게 틀레 다기 파치게 틀레 다기 레 마치게 틀레 다기 레
Father, your holy actions and my actions. Mother, your holy actions and my actions.
더예매 직도 진길로 더예매 직도 진길로
Oh Father, please bless me.
So that your holy body, speech and mind.
So that your holy body, speech and mind. Qualities and actions. Becomes inseparable from mine. O Mother, please bless me, so that your holy body, speech and mind, qualities and actions, become inseparable from mine.
Om Muni Muni Mahamudra Shakya Muni Soha.
Om Muni Muni Mahamudra Shakya Muni Soha.
Sangye Tamche Dube Ko Dorje Zimbe Ngowani Bonjo Sumge Tsawate Lama Namla Chatselo Tusum Chojuru Shukpe Lamadang Rinchen Chosum Chawa Tamchela Techim Mebe Tenyang Gyatse Shinto Nyambe Ludru Chatselo Om Namo Manjushri Namo Sushri Namo Tamshri Om Namo Manjushri Namo Sushri Namo Tamshri Om Namo Manjushri Namo Sushri Namo Tamshri
Papa Kinjo Sana Chan Salon Doge Dage Tiba Tich Janden de Jabi Kawa Chabe Mungala Gendo Jembo Da Chanjo Sebe Jembo Da Jida Jida Di Janden de Samono Chechabe Chijan Nizela Nyabo Jodo Yadi Janjo Zambo Zambo Jimbo Waji Oje Gira Jeba Jada Jembo Wanyala Nabo Da Jembo Ya la ya na ji to ma na ba da wa de ne sa ji ji de zu da de ba ja de
这三宝三宝金宝宝宝西让我叫他几个几那所的几宝刚拉拉西的把这的这把的这的老把家的这三宝三宝金宝宝宝西让我几个这三宝下让的的过了这些宝这些宝宝这些宝宝刚拉拉西的把这的金宝三的这把这把这把这这学的宝宝把这大家那些东方那把呀都这都我说东宝东宝你这就东宝你先把也东宝你的就是也嘛也那的也都走啊那的这些当那把西把那东宝这些把这到这当这东宝你的这年面宝嘛我们把这嘛面宝这嘛到这这面宝嘛面宝我这里宝这在
东宝你了最美
我们的前面的前面那把西把面面那面东面西面里面一面三面三面对面对面对下面前面东面也刚面把一些刚面一些那把西边看见把大呀面东马里把面马里把四把面把你看西面看西四边把大呀面东地东我当关就当个把当南面西面东把面马到把这把这大呀那像都怎么那都没学到这把这大想法了第几年的生了就我们别找我们的学姐都在想那天的天给人的白大就是那我这边上街当街上写了些或者的想法了今年上那面把样大把上学的我把自把上就是这大人那写了些把这的前面啊这把前面那那没被我明年把三年被我对呀三年的小学明天上那天把西把这些写把这的前面啊这把这的我的把上三把人我的有所好下这把全球三把第二写了些把这的三把三把老把叫我弟弟兄弟弟弟弟弟弟弟上就三把金毛我写我就老的所写叫我今天的所的所这些把弟弟跟老这些把弟弟这些两把镜头写了些把这的三把了这把这弟弟这把弄家就是这么的些高真的知道两把这那天把那全就三把金毛我写我学到当街当天别过我见到那当面到那嘛也到这三姐妹今天就你那些三把了我把这多
卡拉这边念着
当把你我去走去我也都到去这把把那嘛也把也走光着走到小之路
阿嘎桑玛拉扎
查达拉桑玛拉呀的
阿嘎桑玛拉扎强达拉桑玛拉呀别德亚塔瓦嘎丁嘎丁巴朗嘎丁巴朗
桑我你们的说宝宝刚就是有个人那个是罗个几那个几说的了到就就他给我前面的确认你把当的这个我也说
给谁
东道去就去我当面前的见到着我的天把这去别说所以就是别这些地的天的天的说呀搞的那些过去都过年了我觉得完全这些我关系老上着这大节我年都写上你见能够三界本地的就在老马街边中国街到了地边三当心天马街角关着就说的街角就关着要多知道高上当月街角的西上这边北街南边这边过多年这边的天老家人
用钱拿做没做这就对边那啥这家 没小宇宙接住将座，三
西
老
南
金主切老切王，王切东面天天所不。另外也送명给九节，切不拉东巴三九毛。一节九年年节报大别所在下，你们听到吗？听着大家，拒绝方便天就地就，我不拒绝老千在报老大家上把大别，一让我拒绝老马当报见他去，就我搞到今天这你就到上边地就在马上，所去解决就把我都是难道也是一的幸福？所就过了就那明我呀，当年那我做过这八年，随着把他们都点把就大概今天稍别给我你点上着我工作工别，就这几天路上这我一点点宁波人都是学着明月之月的心心日子这边见面我们见面呀，地方马人就这三月。刚进一别做些从老马路上这边小老鼠，你这个工作叫我做别，你就今年我上这边的这旁边上上天天的给这上面都马就一句呀，那么我帮着呀，你说个啥姐姐。别当别上街这我做，叫多街讲究老实话。就当的这我就把他向你街上这就把他拉上就家家进步也，出娘多不新鲜了，新郎就去进街的，就上街叫我这边要，见了把我见别拉实话。就当的这我就把他拉上就讲这就把。那时就家有进步也就牛多不新鲜了，一张就搞我进中就多点了到我那边，即使路上找不到说你就当的这我就把，家里的长生就把他拉上就家就进步。说牛多不新鲜了，家即使不松康。我也点不这别说，老天见别叫做老说，就当的这我结果当家你结上这就嘛，老son就家就进步也，就娘多不新鲜了，你继续当别这些年快点去的小名字，跑出去就在老说。就当的这我结果当下你结上这就嘛。老son就家就进步也就娘多不新鲜，lineage年家到新年前面接近这观念，终究他妈帮着老鼠王，就当这就我结果当下你结上这就嘛。老son就家就进步也就娘多不新鲜。去接去满归帮你点接点别接钱，老大爹周跑说，就当这就我就跑到向你街上真就嘛，那son就家就进步也就娘多不新鲜，故son就不当娘个我没给过就主管。看着上街也修了说，你就当这就我就跑。向你街上真就把他拉上就家家进步，去年的不进去了，街道上街点吧，我的大也没当姐姐，姐姐路上去街道说，就当的这我就把他向你街上真就把。拉上就家家进步也就年多不新鲜。刚到街地界满的花店街的南的大街，着急给你将在老手，就当的这我结果当下你街上真就嘛，拉上就家家进步也就年多不新鲜。一路上街的你别去，真的是娘别说你，准备着真把老手。就当这这我结果当下你街上真就嘛，那son就家就进步也就娘多不新鲜，所见也当街的自己快点街的就弄开，
觉见观照觉在老所，觉当的知我觉波当下念觉上真觉嘛。法僧就教教进步也就娘多多不心情，接到具体觉在心，法定觉别多的心，觉在老早也是老所，你接当的知我觉波。上年纪上身就不大，老son就家家进步，去年到多不心结了，经常见危机现来，那年纪上嘛俺年发节在老多真的老是完，就当在这结果大下年纪上身就嘛。老son就家家进步，也就年多不心结。接到那这年节节年年别年的大喜，这就路上那些老说，就当的这我结果大下年节上这就嘛，老son就家家进步，也就年多不心结。接了面年节当把那天马那这东西，今天一些天天老说，就当的这我结果。上年节上身就把那拉松就家家进步，去年多不进去了，拉上了满多天边，要到一更多节在发节在马我将把老说，就当的这结果大下年节上身就把。拉松就家家进步也去年多不进去。别当面上见我面我一见别举见面子，毕竟八点一些老说，越当的这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛，拉松就家家进步，去年都不了心结了，东街拉上要走了，自己就别担心，开头我就见老说。就当的这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛，老son就家家进步也就年多不心情，一个月到年波也接送也接点身体，也在那么帮着老说，就当的这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛。拉松就家家进步也就年多不心情了，明明也在见明明老三样也见着见的，要接这边都接老说，就当的这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛。老松就家家进步也就年多不心情，就到一年就他今年上就给叫上我媳。看着天天真知老说，就当在这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛，老松就家家进步也就年多不心情，上那街多把他今年写着几天别节节，我当真的节节老说，就当在这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛。老松就家家进步也就年多不心情，一同去见面马会些老松去见面年嘛，我上天也周不老说，就当在这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛。老松就家家进步也就年多不心情了，就叫我年把老三。我每个阶段这我节节给的叫做老说，也当这这我就把大家年纪上身就把，老松就家家进步也就年多不心情，老上大家去的去过的要老三的，天天我就把老说，就当这这我就把大家年纪上身就把。老松就家家进步也就年多不心情，这面这边给家给到这些老早生给，开着这边我不啰嗦，就当这这我结果大下年纪上身就嘛。老松就家家进步也就年多不心情了，我老上这一天路就写着些别让大家，今天见面老说， 月当节知我知报答，将年节长生中华。拉松就下就进步也，全量都不心情。今将问你几的罪人，那多今日到节节目，今日公主将在老祖我，月当节听我知报答，将年节长生中华。那所就家家进步也，全量都不心情。面面见年走最街道，主句也点别接近。出现我若热天老祖，月当节知我知报答，将年节长生就我，老祖就家家进步也，全量都不心情。黄土地月天到三年，连续去交流过，用在跟着江苏老祖，月当节知我知报答，将年节长生就我。那所就家家进步也，全量都不到亲戚了，前了节各国祖老的人年节这边过吧。阿爹天边野马老苏王的月当节知我知报答，将年节长生就我。那所就家家进步也，全量都不亲戚。如果老前辈前往给东华节天别接近。现在真的叫做老苏，也当着知我知报答，将年节长生就我。老孙就家家进步也，全量都不心情。用多点能多当别节，那么也就有公婆。别真量当着老苏，也当着知我知报答，将年节长生就我。那孙就家家进步也，全量都不心情了。记着我念别句，规定些点小笔，这些老大也些老苏，月当节知我知报答，将年节长生就我。那孙就家家进步也，全量都不心情。就多点当不老上正，规定也当多了。一切多点真的老苏，月当节知我知报答，将年节长生就我。那孙就家家进步也，全量都不到境界。也照着国民的杀戮，点点给的家别这些杀人老毛老苏，你月当节知我知报答，将年节长生就我。那孙就家家进步也，全量都不心情了。接老毛上街走脱，你过老心不老报答，满洲关地过去。那天莫那天莫一别，百孙就家家进步，天天都不心情。怕爷爷过当大爷了，怕爷爷送上大爷，怕爷爷路上大爷爷，天也没知道亲戚了。马姐姐过当大爷了，马姐姐送当大爷嘛，马姐姐就到大爷，天也没知道亲戚。
Sanje, Chedo, Soje, Chonal, Chonjo, Bado, Dane, Chazoje, Dagye, Cheche, Jebe, Sanoje, Rola, Benjo, San, Robara, Cho, Sanje, Chedo, Soje, Chonal, Chonjo, Bado, Dane, Chazoje, Dagye, Cheche, Jebe, Sanoje, Rola, Benjo, San, Robara, Cho, Sanje, Chedo, Soje, Chonal, Chonjo Bado Dane Chazoje Sanamaje Androla Sanje Robara Cho Lado La Meme Do Moje Umbuda Jajo La Soji Jo La Chawa Chebanam Sanje Sun Vara Do Jeje Do Jejo Vanda Da Jeje Tambe Chinye Chanan Dershi Namo La Yeke Do La Do Ne Jake Tuta Dom Yeke Na Don Rova Kunje Dana Cheza Tanje Ke Do Da Ke Jiten Do Tanje Ke Do Da Ke Jiten Do Ola So Cheke Do Jowo Chimbe Sune Se Jiten Che
So,
Do Mo Ja
Just as was said by the great Atisha. So just as was said by Atisha, the great Atisha said, so the great practitioners, the great yogis that have great knowledge and experience, there is no point of having any sort of envy to all the great practitioners. Instead, we should be faith and respect. As was said also in the Tsema Namdra. So, showing that it's extremely very harmful to have envy towards anyone else. So there's no point of having envy towards others. So those that have qualities, so by seeing we should make our own intention of by seeing qualities in others that we also want to develop such qualities within ourselves. Once we see, we should not point out faults on others. Whenever we see or we listen about or we have doubts about others, we need to leave it in emptiness. We should not grasp at the faults of others. We need to look at one's own faults. The moments that we see at one's own faults, we need to apply something to make a change. We all know that since we were very small until to know what are our own faults and negativities, our wrong actions. If we really think well, when we are relaxed, and if we really look well, we can really recognize our own negative actions. Somehow we can count it. Since we were a small child up to now, which were the negative actions that we did, which were the small actions, which were the big actions, if we can think really well about it. So by that we can see one's own faults, like to ennumber one's own faults. So we don't need to think much about our own virtue, but more about the virtues that others did. Once we pay respect to the virtues that others have done, and we have faith and respect. By generating towards all sentient beings a discernment, just as one's own parents or family, like all of them have been my father, have been my mother. So thinking in this way, so seeing all sentient beings as one's own family, we need to by that meditate on compassion and love towards sentient beings. So was said by the great Atisha. So when we think about the countless previous lives that we have had, and always there was parents and so on, we can understand better how to see all sentient beings as our parents. So such advice was given by the great Atisha. And he also took it into practice. Not only that, what his practice, he put it into writing, and then he printed it, and nowadays we are able to read it and to study it. So we can put it into practice. So we're very grateful towards him. He's very kind towards us. He's extremely kind, as we said yesterday, as the other great masters of the Kadampa lineage. It had spread very much in Tibet. It said Lama Chopa is called the new Kadampa. Why is it called the new Kadampa? the old Kadampa from Atisha without letting any aspect of the old Kadampa of Atisha being degenerated by giving on top of it the method and the instructions from the Guru of how to unite the generation and the completion stage in an unmistaken way, in a new way which was not presented before. That's why we call it Kadam Sarma. That's why Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings are called the new Kadampa. So to be able to meet such teachings and be able to, Lama Tsongkhapa's lineage and teaching is extremely precious and difficult to meet, to find. So Lama Tsongkhapa, that was the holder of all the teachings of Sutra and Tantra, and gave such teachings the ability for us to meet, to encounter such teachings, and to put it into practice. What we don't know to know, to what we know to put it into practice. It is something very precious. If we don't do that, then just by knowing that Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings is very special and very holy, that's not enough. So we need to do the much as we can in our own ability of listening, comprehending, and meditating. If you do not do this, if you do not put into practice, it's like if you do not encounter the teachings. So once you put it into practice, it's the real meaning of encountering the teachings. So this is extremely good. That's why we call the new Kadampa and the old Kadampas. If we think well, we are very fortunate. We talked a lot about fortunate the other day. We have many fortunes. The fact that we have this human body with all positive conditions. The fact that we can meet, that we can encounter the Buddha teachings. Especially that we can encounter the Sutra, the Tantra teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa. We are very fortunate from all of that. So this is because in our previous life we have accumulated karma and through good conditions have had this special opportunity, so we need to rejoice about it. There are different verses in which we refer about how fortunate we are. So we need to think about how fortunate we are and we need to rejoice about it. We are very fortunate. So this is a short introduction for today. So we'll continue from where we stopped yesterday. Alternatively, Chandrakirti in his Madhyamika said, the mind itself sets a variety of transitory worlds of sentient beings and transitory worlds of the environment. Thus the mind is presented to be the root of all the environments and its inhabitants. Therefore the technique here is different from other when the basis root of the mind is found out. Because of that, one should do the following. Within the continuous equal placement from before, when inspecting the own mind, one discovers that it does not exist as any types of forms, whereby it dawns as a total emptiness. It is free like a sun that is free from obscuration of cloud. There is a variety of thoughts, moving mentally here and there, making of lots of things and being distracted. Such tensely functioning mind that does not cease like a butter lamp that goes off, and which does not cease to be clear and knowing, appears to the awareness that apprehends one's own mind as an independent, not relying upon anything with respect to that conceived object that is apprehended as it apprehends of the mind in the way it appears. The Siva Shantideva and the Bodhisattva Sharavatara said, the so-called continuum and collection are false, like the case of a rosary, a war, and so on. Thus, the composition of each rosary bead
that is put on the thread is merely labeled to be a mala, and the gathering of each person who wears the armor is called war, which is established as only a name, a mere imputation. It is not truly existence. By this scripture authority and logic, one ascertains that it is not established by the way it appears. Within the state of that ascertainment, place yourself singly pointedly. Furthermore, in the 8,000 stanza of Prajna Paramita says, the mind does not have a mind. The mind does not have a mind because its nature is clear light. Thus the mind does not have a mind that is inherently established because the nature of the mind is clear light, emptiness. Also the Ratnakuta Sutra also says, the mind has not been seen by all the Buddhas of the three times. They do not see it, they will not see it. The Venerable Marpa. Okay, so now we'll go through some short explanation about this part of the text. As Chandrakirti said in the Madhyamika Vatrata, he said, the mind itself sets a variety of transitory worlds of sentient beings and transitory worlds of the environment. So the mind is the creator of the environment and the beings that live. It's the creator. It's all depending on the mind. So both the environment and its beings are created as the result of the mind itself. So the mind is the main actor, is the main creator. So the mind is the root of the environment and its inhabitants. So in the mind is the root of the environment and inhabitants. So there are many different levels of mind, from gross to very subtle. So, as the gross mind, the mind that perceives the senses. So this mind, by being taken by oneself, grasping of inherent existence, by that it acts with karma, and then by the karma then we have the result, and by that result we experience the environment and so on. So this is something that is explained. If you really think, it's exactly like, if we really read, the ultimate root is actually the very subtle, the natural state, very subtle mind of clear light. The very subtle mind of clear light is the one that's making actions of virtuous and unvirtuous actions and so on. And by making such actions, that's from which, from karma, that's from which the samsara is existing. So if we look at the ultimate root, where is the ultimate root of samsara? It's a very subtle mind of clear light. And where is the ultimate root also of liberation? Is also in the ultimate, in the very subtle mind of clear light. So what's said in the Abhisamaya Alankara? Meaning is that once we're taken by self-grasping of inherent existence, by that we do different types of karmas, and from that we turn in samsara, and from this a whole environment arises. As a result of one's own karma, it manifests as the environment in which we live. So one's purifying one's own mind and karma. And then from this appears the pure land of the Buddhas. And this appears the pure land of the Buddhas. So was said in the ornament of clear realization.
There are different words, but the meaning is the same. So was said in the Madhyamaka Bhattara, the mind sets a variety of transitory worlds of sentient beings and transitory worlds of environments. The mind is making the action, very like known like others, an action of manifesting this world. Like the mind is like the most important one of all the actions of all the works. So was said. It's truly like this. If we have whatever, the most important thing is the mind itself. Mind is the most powerful of all. If we give the right shape to the mind, then just like the great masters of the past, by giving the right shape to the mind, if we can do it the same way, then this is extremely good. Within the continuous evolution from before, when inspecting one's own mind, if we think about the mind itself, when we do the shamatha by observing the mind, observing the very subtle mind of clear light as the basis, by observing it one to develop shamatha. So when in the continuous equal placement from before, when inspecting the own mind, one discovers that it does not exist as any type of forms, whereby it dawns as a total vacuum. When we really look at the mind, we see that the mind doesn't have any sort of form. It's not matter. It's not something that can be touched. So it's empty in this way. It's not something solid that can appear to the mind. It's something that doesn't exist in any form as a matter. So it's like where you can hold to it. It's just like a space free of clouds, sky free of clouds. It's like the sun that is free from the obscuration of cloud. That is a variety of thoughts, moving mentally here and there, thinking lots about things and being distracted. Such densely functioning mind that does not cease like a butter lamp that goes off. It's not like a butter lamp. It's something that is constantly that, which does not cease to be clear and knowing. Appears to the awareness that appears one's own mind, that is always constantly present. The continuum of the mind never ends, never stops. So such state of mind so this becomes the object of meditation of the shamatha. So this type of such mind, with respect to the conceived object that is apprehended as it appears, or that mind in the way it appears. So such mind, which is the object of the shamatha, that even though it appears as being of inherent existence, like not depending on anything else, not depending on its parts or any other cause and conditions, it appears as something being totally inherently existent. But as it appears, it just appears in this way, but truly the mind doesn't exist in such matter. It's just it appears to the mind in that way, but truly doesn't exist in such inherent existence. Such was said by the Shantideva, the so-called continuum and collection are false, like a case of rosary, an army, and so on. Thus the composition of each rosary bead that is put on the thread is merely called a mala, and the mala doesn't exist by its own characteristics. Also when we talk like the same thing in what is called people who wear an armor are put together and are called an army. It is also established only by the name. It doesn't exist by its own existence. It's just a mere imputation of name. It's just a mere imputation of concept. It doesn't exist by its own characteristics. But in spiritual logic, one has attained that it's not established in the way it appears. So the very subtle mind of clear light doesn't exist as it appears. So it is the emptiness. So once you realize that it doesn't exist as it appears, then you should single-pointed concentrate on the emptiness of the very subtle mind of clear light. And by that enter into the state of samadhi, which is similar to space. The mind does not have a mind because its nature is clear light, just was said in the Prajna Paramitas. Because the nature of the mind is emptiness. This is very clear, this part of the text. Because the mind does not have a mind that is inherently established, because the nature of the mind is clear light, emptiness. So I say that the mind, it's of the nature of clear light, which means it's the nature of emptiness. Which is momentarily taken by defilements, but defilements are not in the nature of the mind itself. The mind has not been seen by all the Buddhas of the three times. They do not see it, they will not see it. When we talk about mind, this here doesn't mean exactly the mind. Something that doesn't, a mind that does not depend on anything else. If we look, the mind as it appears to us, that is inherently existent, such autonomously existent, inherently existing mind doesn't exist. Such inherently existent mind, all the Buddhas of the three times will never see it. They do not see it, they will never see it. When analyzing the mind, like it's a very subtle mind of clear light, where it is, even though it appears as being of inherent existence, such mind, if we look for it, we cannot find it. So this is an object of negation, such inherent existent mind. All Buddhas have never seen it, doesn't see it, will not see it. Also the great Marpa said, grabbing the emptiness of mind for meditation, then ascertaining the dharmat of mind, exactly as he said. As said, I have been to the shore of the river Ganges today. By the kindness of the great Lord Maitrapa, I realized the dharmata, that is the basis, as unproduced. By grabbing the emptiness of mind, I have seen the meaning, the empty of primordial mind as free of elaboration. I saw the three holy bodies directly. My mental elaboration have been cut off since then. Chamarpa, he really, through putting great effort, he went to India. By that, through the kindness of his great master Maitrapa, he said he realized the true nature of reality of emptiness. And by grasping, by grabbing, by holding with the hand the emptiness of mind, by grabbing the emptiness of mind, I have realized the emptiness of the mind. By grabbing the emptiness of the mind, just as if he could have hold it with the hand, I have seen the meaning. The entity of the primordial mind is free of elaboration. I saw the three holy bodies directly. It's like the meaning of it is the Dharmakaya of the Buddha. From the three bodies, which is the emptiness of the Buddha's body, the three bodies, as it's also said, we said also in the Panchen, the moment I once realize emptiness, when you realize also the body of the essence of the Buddha, which is the Ngonyeko, which is the emptiness of the Dharmakaya of the Buddha. We also say that when we're doing the debate, similar to that. When realizing the emptiness of the very subtle mind, and by that he has also seen directly all the three bodies of the Buddha. By that, the meaning is that I have realized directly emptiness. My mental elaboration has been cut off since then. So was said by the great Marpa. Also, Bhakti, the Lord of Migrating Beings, also said, the root of the two, samsara and nirvana, is the mind. The mind being pure since the beginning is thusness. It is peaceful since the beginning and is unproduced. The mind is totally free from the extreme of elaboration. In brief, here follows the sacred instructions from the mouth of our virtual spiritual friend. So here the verses are quite clear. So this, the root of samsara nirvana is the mind. This is, if we really think well, it's true like this. It's the very subtle mind of clear light. The root of samsara is in the very subtle mind of clear light. Also, enlightenment comes also from the root for the very subtle mind of clear light. As we develop more and more from this very root state of the very subtle mind, then this becomes the state of Buddhahood. So the root of Buddhahood and the root of samsara is both in the very subtle mind. It's the mind itself. So the mind being pure since beginning last time means that the mind since always has been empty of inherent existence itself. Since the beginning, the mind has never been of inherent existence. If we call it since the beginning last time, mind has never been of inherent existence. In brief, here follows the sacred instruction from the mouth of our virtual spiritual friend Sangha Yeshe, an omniscient in true sense, not like the ones known and mentioned while he is not. So he said in the root text, in short, as my virtual spiritual friend Sangha Yeshe, omniscient in the true sense, he said, when no matter what dawns, if you are fully aware of the conceptual thoughts that apprehends whatever dawns, the ultimate sphere of phenomena dawns without relying on others. While this is dawning, your awareness immerses in it, and placing yourself equally on it with a single-pointed concentration is amazing. My goodness. Thus, if you apprehend any conception that arises, meaning if you know that anything that arises is a mere conceptual imputation, then the ultimate reality dawns as an object of your mind without depending on any other condition. It is as Chandrakirti said, the conventional truth is the means, and ultimate truth is the one arising from the means. While that ultimate reality is dawning, your awareness immerses in it. Means to unify single-pointedly the reality that dawns as an object of your mind and the subject of your consciousness. Then to set oneself in equal placement in it. That's amazing. So if we go shortly to the meaning of this, in brief, one from my own root guru, Sangha Yeshe, who has really been a real Buddha, not known as a Buddha while not being one. The guru of Panchen Losang Choky Gyaltsen, Sangha Yeshe, talking about him, He's been the root guru of Panchen Losang Choky Gyaltsen. He's not like known as a Buddha while not being he's truly a Buddha. So for he said, his own root guru, Sangyeshe, what he said. In essence, in short, as my virtual spiritual friend Sangyeshe Omniscient is in the true sense has said, when no matter what dawns, if you are fully aware of the conceptual thought that apprehends whatever dawns, the ultimate sphere of phenomena dawns without relying on others. While this is dawning, your awareness immersed in it, and placing yourself equally on it with single-pointed concentration is amazing. Emahon. So what Khyentse Sangyeshe was saying here, as Panchen Losang Choky Gyaltsen, remember as one's own Guru Sangyeshe as a truly Buddha, 100% without any doubt is an actual Buddha. Similar to that, we should see our own root Guru as the actual Buddha, without any doubt. Just as Panchen Losang Choky Gyaltsen, we need to think in the same way. I think myself on that. For example, Atisha, the holder of the lineage of the Kadampa, Atisha, his own root guru. He had many gurus, but his main root guru was the Guru Subarnadipa. When thinking about Guru Subarnadipa, Guru Subarnadipa, he was holding the Chittamatra view, and Tisha was holding the Madhyamika view. If you really think it was like this, but still, in the mind of Atisha, he really sees Guru Subarnadipa as an actual Buddha. He never think, oh, he's just a bodhisattva on the Chittamatra. 100% he was not thinking like this. This we can define without any doubt. So Guru Subarnadipa, he was saying this, my root Guru is the actual true Buddha. By making such clearly, then by that we can see how the great lineage of the Kadampa have developed. So this is an example that we should follow ourselves also. Our own root Gurus. We are not able so much to see them as the actual Buddhas, but following by examples from others, we need to see them truly as the Buddhas. By develop such, we just gain more benefit. There is no any harm of seeing one's own Guru as the Buddha. If we don't do it, then we have losses from that. So we truly need to see one's own Guru as the Buddha, if we think in this way. For example, as there was Ganden Choepa, the one that composed the text on logics called Semanumdra. Rabten Choeling Buddhist. They were really incredible scholars and practitioners, great panditas. One for their own Guru was called Lama Chopa. I think it's like this. It's called Lama Chopa. As Rabten Choeling in the text about logics, he received teachings from Lama Chopa. When he first received the teaching, he said he didn't understand anything. On the second time that he saw something similar, he could understand like one saw teacher. And the third, he saw him as even greater than his own teacher. Because as he was writing text, he was really explaining very clearly, without any mistaken, the view of the logic of Semanumdra, of Pramana. But Lama Chopa, So they had different points of view regarding the philosophical aspect of logics. So now Rinpoche is giving the precise explanation of what is a correct logic and so on. Even though if they had different views, still he would see his own Guru as Buddha itself. He was not saying, oh, he's lower than oneself, or he's not as someone not knowing anything, or something like that. Or even though he was giving a wrong, let's say, a wrong definition. It's not like thinking, oh, he was giving like a wrong definition of what is a correct logical explanation and so on. He really saw him as a real Buddha. This is the root of him becoming so well known and having so many realizations. It was never been possible if he didn't have the correct view upon his Guru. They can 100% be sure about it. So it's really so important to see one's own Guru as the Buddha itself. So just by the side explanation, whatever it's coming to my mind, I am explaining on that. There's nothing that you don't know, but what are my thoughts? I'd like to share them with you. So as Kedu Sangye, as he said, when no matter what dawns, if you are fully aware of the conceptual thought that appears, whatever dawns. The ultimate sphere of phenomena dawns without relying on others. While this is dawning, your awareness immerses in it, and placing yourself equally on it in a single point in concentration is amazing. Thus, if you apprehend any if you apprehended any conceptions that arises, meaning if you know that anything that arises is a mere conceptual imputation, then the ultimate, once you understand everything is a mere imputation, it's just as imputed by the mind, just imputed by the thought, just merely depending on the imputation of the name, then the ultimate reality dawns as an object of your mind without depending on any other condition. So was said by Chandrakirti, the conventional truth is the means. The ultimate truth is the one that arises from the means. So the fact that phenomena exist as a mere imputation of the name is the conventional truth. The fact that phenomena do not exist other than being as a mere imputation of the name is emptiness. So once you realize that phenomena exist as a mere imputation of the name, this is called the conventional truth. It's the fact that phenomena do exist as a mere imputation of the name. They exist as a mere imputation, just as a mere imputation. Once you understand this, this is the conventional truth. Once you understand this, then you see that the opposite of it, that phenomena do not exist as not in that way. Then from that is easily you can understand ultimate truth of emptiness. We normally when debating in the Madhyamika, when we debate about this verse, we call it as the logic to realize the lack of inherent existence. Not possible to realize emptiness directly. It's not like seeing a vase or a pillar. To realize emptiness, first you need to go through logics of realizing emptiness. So for that you need to have the three parts of the logical reasoning that you need to first to realize. First you need to realize the three parts of the logical reasoning, and then from that you can realize the actual object of probation. Then you can realize the lack of inherent existence. If we look the aspect of the logical reason. First, you need to understand that phenomena do exist as a mere imputation of the name. Normally, when debating, we think about conventional truth as something similar to that. Otherwise, we're not able to really understand it so much deeply. If we really think about it directly, the fact that phenomena is a mere imputation of the name, that's conventional truth. The fact that phenomena do not exist in other way, they are free of an existence that is not as in mere imputation of the name, is the actual emptiness. In order to develop first the correct reasoning of emptiness, first you need to understand the different parts of the reasoning. For that, first you need to understand the way how phenomena exist as a mere imputation of the name. So that's why the conventional truth is the means, and the ultimate truth is the one arising from that means. While the ultimate reality is dawning, your awareness immerse in it. When a unified single point to the reality that dawns as an object of mind and subject your consciousness to set oneself, when you're able to place emptiness in your own wisdom, your own mind, inseparably at single-pointedly in it, that's extremely good. It's amazing. It's an amazement. It's incredible. Emahol. That's incredibly good. So something similar to the meaning of the preceding two lines is that mentioned by Padamba Sangha. Similar, Padamba Sangha has also said, within a state of emptiness, the lens of awareness trills around. A correct view of reality is free of being tangible and or obstructive. All people of Tingri. Such statement come from the same intended point. Padamba Sangha, he was staying in a place called Tingri, in the central area of Tibet, in a place called Tingri. That's where Padamba Sangha was staying. As he was staying for a long time there, so he's thinking that all the people of Tingri were very kind to him, so he gave 108 advices to the people of Tingri. Within a state of emptiness, the lens of awareness thrills around. A correct view of reality is free of being intangible, obstructive. All people of Tingri. All such statements come from the same intended point. So, for example, when we are in an empty house, we go around with an empty hand. We can go around with like an umbrella, something like that. If we think also about emptiness, the mind that is thinking about emptiness, as the wisdom is like turning around and going around emptiness, just like as the umbrella goes inside a room, the wisdom goes inside emptiness and analyzes emptiness to see how it is empty, and so on and so on. So emptiness, there is nothing that can be obstructive. There is no way that it can be tangible. All people of Tingri. All such statements come from the same intended point, Panchen Losang Choky Gyaltsen was saying. What Geshe Sangha is saying, and that is what Padamba Sangha was saying, they come to the same point. So this is the main part of the teachings have become concluded. The third part is the conclusion. The conclusion is to dedicate the virtues. All the text has the preparation, the actual, and the conclusion. So now we enter into the conclusion. The conclusion is to dedicate the virtues from the equal placement on Mahamudra to the peerless enlightenment. I am referring to the conclusion that is explicitly indicated in my root text, that it says, for this there are preparatory practices, actual techniques, and conclusion. In the root text itself, Thus, the mode of applying the dedication is mentioned within the content of the practice, but not in a clear way. It is therefore to be put in here at this point again for demarcating the borderline. Although it is already set in the root text, I can join in the following. At the conclusion from your meditation session, dedicate whatever completely positive virtue has occurred from meditating on Mahamudra, as well as your ocean-like collection of virtues of the 3 times, towards your attainments of the peerless state of enlightenment. All the merits by meditating on Mahamudra should be dedicated from the great state of enlightenment. It is in the text of the root text of Mahamudra, but it's not so clear stated at which point dedications should be done. So this is the point where you need to do it. The borderline, the border which is clear, which is at this point. So as it is also said in the root text, at the conclusion of a meditation session, dedicate whatever complete positive virtue has occurred from meditating on Mahamudra, as well as your ocean-like collection of virtue the 3 times, towards your attainment of the peerless state of enlightenment. Now, in order to present the 3 following points, how to carry on the practice in the subsequent attainment after rising from equal placements of Mahamudra. Second, to remember again the mental image of the object of negation without missing one equal placement again. And third, to present the clarification of qualms regarding other points either in the equal placement or subsequent attainments. So the text says, having accustomed yourself like this to seeing a correct view. So there are here 3 subjects. The text says, the root text says, having accustomed yourself like this to seeing with a correct view, when you subsequently investigate how your mind makes the object of any of your 6 collections of consequent consciousnesses appear, you experience their bare mode of existence, dawning in an exposed, resplendent manner. Recognizing whatever dawns in your mind is an essential point of a correct view. In short, do not grasp at things, whatever the dawn, such as your mind, to exist in the manner in which your mind gives rise to an appearance of them. Ascertaining that mode of abidance and carry on always that advice. Having known one thing like this, apply all phenomena of samsara or nirvana to a single nature. So that's the first line, the first verse, which says, and there is a second verse, which starts by recognizing whatever dawns in your mind is an essential of a correct view. That's the second verse. And then there is the third 3 lines, ascertaining the mode. So we have a total of 2 verses and 3 lines. The meaning of that comes down, it says, first, hence, after familiarizing oneself with it in that way, by familiarizing with emptiness after meditating on emptiness, as long as you meditate on the samadhi that realizes emptiness, once realizing the path of seeing, it's a very short period compared. After that, staying it's much longer in the meditation path, the path of meditation. One's first realization of direct realization of emptiness in the path of seeing is a very short period. Hence, after familiarizing oneself with emptiness, it doesn't matter if it's short or long. Once meditating on emptiness, by familiarizing it, regardless of any appearance such as form as object of the collection of 6 consciousness during the subsequent attainment, investigate well the way they appear with your intelligence that scrutinize finally. You should analyze how phenomena appear to you when you get out of the state of meditation. You need to observe it clearly. By investigating in that way, the reality of dependent arising dawns barely to you. Things will appear to you as being of inherent existence. By investigating the reality of dependent arising dawns barely to you as like an independent essence or sense. Just like the appearance of a straw, a husk, a dream, a reflection of the moon in water. He's just describing the different examples of illusion, like a straw, a husk, a dream, a reflection of the moon. They appear differently from what they are. Similar, once after finishing meditation, phenomena will appear as inherent existence, but actually they are not. Even though they appear as being of inherent existence, actually they are not. Independent of that dawning, your ascertainment with respect to the dharmata, the nature of phenomena, becomes greater, as Venerable Mitra suggested. So by familiarizing yourself, your view of the truth can become better and better. It can get better and better in this way. By that, your ascertainment with respect of the true nature of reality becomes stronger. After ending the state of samadhi, as you're analyzing reality that appears, even though it appears as being of inherent existence, you know there doesn't any essence being of inherent existence. It's empty of inherent existence. It's just a mere imputation of the name. Once you can see this barely, then by that you can develop a stronger ascertainment in respect to the true nature of reality. By that you have a stronger certainty of emptiness. Your wisdom develops on by that. As Mitripa said, identifying whatever dawns is an essential point of view. Whatever appears to the mind, you need to be able to think about it. So this means you have, by that your view it's very positive for the correct view to develop. At this point, what need is there for me to say so much? In short, the very mode in which any object like the mind of one's own that appears to us, the short-sighted people, is the mode of appearance of object of negation. Therefore, without adoring and grasping at the appearing objects, ascertain that the reality of this and that object is just a negation of their existence in the way they appear and sustain the space-like equal placement on this fact. In the subsequent attainment, after rising out of the equal placement, when observing what is left in the trace of the negating the object of negation, only the dependently related phenomena, subject and object and so on, dawn as a mere name, as a mere imputation without argument. One should just carry out the yoga of the equal placements and the subsequent attainment by alternating them. Yes, he said then, explaining at this point I have already said much. There is not so much else to left to say. In short, making it short, the modes of operations of one's own mind, that appears to the short-sighted people, the mode of appearance of the object of negation. That phenomena appear as being of inherent existence. Things appear as existing by its own characteristics, as one's own self. Something very solid. This is the way of like ordinary beings. Therefore, without adhering and grasping at the appearing objects, I ascertain that the reality of this and that object is just a negation of their existence in the way they appear, and sustain the space like equal placement. They do not exist as they appear, and sustain the space like equal placement. In the subsequent attainment, when and after this state of meditation, after rising of the equal plane, once you have blocked the appearance of inherent existence, after blocking the appearance of inherent existence and staying in the state of meditation and going out of that state of meditation, when observing what is left in the trace of negating the object of negation, only the dependently related phenomena. So you need to see that phenomena are interdependent, to see the interdependence of phenomenon. Then after that you can truly see the actual interdependence of phenomena. By that one should carry the yoga of equal placement and the subsequent attainment by out. You should alternate them. Only the equal placement, not also the subsequent attainment, not only the subsequent attainment. Need to do both. The two need to be alternate. Need to constantly be alternating the two. Not one or two times, constantly alternating the two. Having learned the mode of carrying out equal placement and the subsequent attainment in this way, one should apply the inseparable ultimate nature, that is the mere negation of true existence, to all phenomena of samsara nirvana, and should equally place oneself on it. And in the subsequent attainment, one should familiarize oneself in applying the conventional nature, the mere appearance like an illusion, to them as follows from the root text. Aryadeva has confirmed this point. Any seer of one single thing is explained to be the seer of all things. Any emptiness of one thing is the emptiness of all things. So was said. Once knowing well how to do the equal placement, the state of samadhi, you need to practice well. That's the essence here. You need to have certainty, meditate on the meaning of emptiness, once blocking the appearance of inherent existence. Then after getting out of the state of meditation, meditate on the appearance like an illusion of phenomenon. By meditating in this way, you should meditate same phenomena as an illusion. So as Aryadeva has said, any seer of one single thing is explained to be the seer of all things. Any emptiness of one single thing is the emptiness of all things. Once you realize the emptiness of one thing, then you realize the emptiness of all. The wisdom that realizes emptiness, when realizes truly the emptiness of one, then you can realize the emptiness of all the rest. If we think about emptiness itself, when you realize emptiness upon one object of emptiness, then all the other objects of emptiness are exactly the same of lack of inherent existence. When you think the wisdom that realizes emptiness itself, as gradually develops, it can realize the emptiness of all phenomena. All phenomena lack inherent existence, just as the one that the wisdom initially realizes. Is the emptiness of all things. So what's that? Question. Well, then, do the dependently related phenomena appear to be only a name, a merely imputed existence? to the perspective of the one who is in equal placement upon reality? Answer. I shall answer as the following root text. Just as it is said, in the perspective of the one who is equally placed on the nature of phenomena in the appropriate manner, the existence, non-existence, and so on, the samsara nirvana are indeed free of the extreme, that is the elaboration of true existence. Just as Milarepa said, in terms of ultimate truth, there is also no Buddha free from obstacle. There is no meditator, no object to meditate, no grounds and path to travel, no realization, no result embodied and exalted wisdom. Therefore, there is no nirvana. The three supporting realms together with the moving sentient beings in signs that are merely imputed by names and words are not established since the beginning. They are unproduced, baseless, and not simultaneously born. They are without karma and karmic fruition. Therefore, there is not even the name of samsara. This is what it seems at the absolute level. The homage to the mother, or in the beginnings of the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom, says, to the inexpressible, inconvincible, and indescribable perfection of wisdom, the entity of non-production and non-cessation, experimental domain of its own respective mind that cognize it, the mother of the victories of 3 times I prostrate. Also, Kedru Khyentse sensed the self-liberation in the appearance and existence are like illusion and dream. Also, as Milarepa said, and again a question say, well, if it is like that, are the karma and so on absolutely non-existent? Answer. Saying that they are absolutely non-existent at ultimate level does not suffice. Karma and so on do exist definitely, as the root text says. Yet after you arise, when you inspect, you find things as a mere name, as an imputed existent, which have action and agent, and that are dependently related, and cannot be denied, yet does naturally dawn like a dawn mirrored reflection and moon. So if we give the meaning of that, it says, well then, do the dependently related phenomena appear to be only a name, a merely imputed existent? To the perspective of the one who is equally placed upon reality is a question that is met. For example, those that are within the state of the equal placement of the samadhi, the realizing emptiness, does the part of the illusory appearance and these things, does it appear at the state of meditation? No, it doesn't appear in the state of meditation. Within the state of equal placement, the space like equal placement, the relative reality does not appear. Just as it is said in the perspective of the one who is equally placed in the nature of phenomena, the existence, non-existence, and so on, and samsara nirvana are indeed free of the extreme, that is, elaboration of true existence. They do not appear at all. Within the state of equal placement of emptiness, nothing else appears to the mind. So no such thing as samsara or nirvana or any other phenomena do not appear to the mind other than emptiness itself. And then Milarepa also, Venerable Milarepa also saying, he will reach enlightenment in one lifetime. He said that he never studied, so I said, but if we really read it, they said they had a perfect understanding. Said, in terms of ultimate truth, there is also no Buddha free from absolute. You said within and inherently existent being. Within the state of the realizes emptiness, within the state of realization of emptiness, in the stated moment that the yogi is in the direct realization of emptiness, within that state of mind, he is no other than emptiness, so there is no Buddha, there is no meditator, no object of meditation, no grounds and path to travel, no realization, no result in one extent, and therefore there is no nirvana. The three supporting realms together with the moving sentient beings, they are merely impute in names by words. All of this do not exist at the appearance. Are not established since the beginning, they are unproduced, baseless, and not simultaneously born. They are without karma and karmic fruition, therefore there is not even name of samsara. So within, this is what is seen at the absolute level, which is within the state of realization of emptiness. Within there is only the lack of inherent existence. Within that state, there is no perception of any other phenomena. So this is a state of mind which is inexpressible, inconceivable, and indescribable, of perfect wisdom. So such perfect wisdom, which is beyond expression, as Kedru Khyentse said. The self-liberation in the appearance of existence are like illusion and dream. Self-liberation means by meditating oneself to get the liberation. It's just like an illusion. The meaning is that within the state of the mind of the wisdom that realizes emptiness, within the equal placement of realizing emptiness, it's called the self-liberation. Within that there is no other, like illusory objects, they do not appear within this equal placement of emptiness. So in the same way, within the vision of the equal placement of the wisdom that realizes emptiness, there is no other object that appears. So, if it's like that, well then, if it's like that, are the karma and so on absolutely non-existent? Are they absolutely no existence? The answer says they are saying that they are absolutely non-existent and at outward level does not suffice. Karma and so on do exist definitely, just as the root text says. Yet after you arise, when you inspect, you find things as a mere name, as an imputed existence, which have action and agent. They are dependently related and cannot be denied, yet they naturally dawn like a dream, mirage, reflection, and the moon, the water. As Milarepa also said, alas, as a dream, a mirage, reflection of the moon, and so on. They appear in a way, but they are not as they appear. They are just a pure appearance. Just like the dream, the mirage, the reflection of the moon and water, they are just a pure, mere appearance. Similar to that phenomena that is pure, just as a mere imputation of the name. They appear nothing appeared as, nothing existing as inherently existing as it appears. Also, as Milarepa said, alas, if there were no sentient beings, where would the Buddhas of the three times have come from? Without the cause and result would be impossible. Therefore, in terms of conventional truth, there is samsara, nirvana, and all the Buddha said. The two, nature of the existence that appear as things and that of known existence that is empty, are inseparable empty of one taste. Thereby, there do not exist self-cognizer and other cognizers, since they are all expansively unified. So he is saying that the ultimate reality and conventional reality are of the same taste. Emptiness is interdependent. The nature of interdependence. Everything that is of the nature of emptiness is interdependent. Everything that is independent is emptiness, empty of inherent existence. So they are of the same nature. They are of the same taste. If one is not there, the other one cannot be. That's why they are inseparable entities. They are of one taste. Thereby, there do not exist a self-cognizer or other cognizer, since they are all expansive. It's like thinking one system, others system, like oneself and others, oneself and others, ours, me and him. It's like putting two separate things, like two things that are like not related, not connected. Me and him, we and them, my system, their system, self-cognizer, other cognizers, like I understand like this, like putting division. Like us and them, me and them, like two different things, two separate things. Like if there is the one, like if they are not connected, me and them, my system, their system, like if two things, we can call it in different names, self-cognizer and other cognizer and so on, like two things that are not connected. Like if they were completely separated things. It is not like that. Emptiness and interdependence, they are not like this. Whatever is emptiness is in the nature of interdependence. Whatever is interdependent is the nature of emptiness. Emptiness and interdependence, they are of the same nature. They are not something separated. There is unity between the two. They are one nature. Since they are all expansively unified. So was said. The mode in which they existence, furthermore, is that exists a mere name, is a mere imputation whereby one has to place oneself equally with the satisfaction. It is said by Suprimaria Nagarjuna, since a thing that is from being only a name, the sky is also only a name. So as phenomena are just a mere imputation of a name, all phenomena are equal in the same. Also the sky, also the space is also a mere imputation of the name. So we're saying that both permanent and impermanent phenomena, impermanent, the decomposed phenomena and the uncomposed phenomena, both are just a mere imputation of name. Hence, the final meaning of the Mahamudra, accepted by the spiritual father Arya Nagarjuna and the spiritual son Deva, is the so-called, the imputedly existent and only name. Therefore, I am to explain it clearly as it follows. For instance, in a house of 4 pillars, one must accept that there is a pillar for there being 4 pillars. That pillar is also generally which follows each of the 4 pillars. However, if you investigate what the basis of illustration for the substantial generality of the pillar is, each of the 4 individually cannot be its basis of illustration, nor the collection of the 4 can be its basis of illustration. Also, one cannot demonstrate the basis of illustration that is an object other than each individual of all the 4 and the mere collection of the 4. Therefore, the substantial generality of the pillar is in that house is just the mere name pillar that is labeled upon all the 4 pillars. Being satisfied with the notion of merely labeled by name, one should posit things, otherwise nothing can be found when searched. Therefore they are called imputedly existent, which is only a name. This is the same thing for all phenomena. This is the same thing for all phenomena, that they are mere imputation of the name. Here, this is very clearly placed here. So just as was said, the meaning of Mahamudra according to the father Nagarjuna and the sons Aryadeva, explaining it more clearly. Nagarjuna and his heart son Aryadeva. what they called the imputedly existent or the only name. Because all phenomena exist just as a mere imputation of the name. If we make it more clear, for example, a house that has 4 pillars, they had sure it must have pillars. There are pillars, but there are 4 pillars. If we look at these 4 pillars, and when we talk about the pillars and the house, however, if you investigate what is the basis of the imputation of the illustration, we cannot find it. We cannot find it anywhere. If we look for each one of the pillars, we cannot find it. If we look at all the pillars together, we can also not find it. Also, one cannot demonstrate the base of illustration, also individual of the 4 or the mere collection of the 4. Because the 4 together is the basis of imputation, and then of the concept of pillar. The 4 pillars put together is just the base of imputation of the 4 pillars, not the actual pillars. If this would be the actual imputated pillars, so the base of imputation and the imputing agent, if they are the same, then this would make them to be an existing existence. It would not be a mere imputation of them. Then this is not okay. So being satisfied with the notion that they are merely labeled by name, one should posit things. Otherwise nothing can be found when searched. It's just merely labeled by name, by being satisfied with that. One should understand, otherwise we cannot find any other phenomena other than sin that are merely imputed by the name. The same thing is for all the other phenomena. So that once we search for phenomena that appear of inherent existence, when we search for such phenomena, we cannot find it. All we can find is a merely name, imputation of the name. So the qualm that is to clarify is the following. Some people, like those who compile the formal later texts, who are related to the systems, while saying that all the consciousnesses of ordinary beings are mistaken, due to which whatever appears to the awareness of ordinary beings appears to exist inherently, assert a mode. So that, saying that whatever appears to the sentient beings appears as being of inherent existence, just in that way, for the object of negation, the true existent to appear, that is different from the present mode of appearing, something like an upright horn. So that's what the mistake is. People think that they see that there's the appearance of things, but still there is still something else to be negated, something solid that needs to be negated. This is a mistake. And this is due, when we say an upright horn means something very solid. And thus this is due to not being able to say what appears to the awareness of us ordinary beings does not exist as they appear. Therefore it is a mistake. That's why this mistake comes, but not being able to negate the appearance itself. Hence, think well about the way the glorious Chandrakirti made an objection to the assertion of the Madhyamika Svatantrika, and forms and so forth are established by the force of appearing to a non-defective awareness. So think well, by the way, how Chandrakirti explained is I'm not able to remember it very clearly. But I will explain how it appears to my mind. For example, in the Madhyamika, Thubten Trika, it says that the object of negation is. They talk about like an unmistaken mind, that phenomena is appearing by an unmistaken mind. It's an unmistaken mind that can see phenomena correctly. And according to the Uma Prasangika, there is no such thing as an unmistaken ordinary mind. In an ordinary being, there is no such a thing as an unmistaken mind. It doesn't mean that if it is a direct perception or a conceptual. They are all mistaken. There is no such thing as an unmistaken mind from an ordinary being. Or direct, which is be unmistaken by the object, or a conceptually unmistaken also. Mind, this thing it doesn't exist. It is always mistaken by its own way because it always appears differently from what it is. There is only illusion, there is only wrong perception. So there is no such thing as an unmistaken mind in an ordinary being. There is no such thing as an unmistaken perception. I cannot say it very clear, but not because I'm not being able to read the text right at the right moment. When I studied a little bit before the text of Lama Chopa on the correct explanation of Buddhist teachings of tongue election and I was that time when I studied, I was just looking what other students were saying, what my gurus were telling. I really didn't understand things so much deeply. I just went on. I was just moving. I could not truly understand it clearly. For my own understanding, it's something like this. This is how I understand it. So the Madhyamika Thubten Trika say that phenomena do exist based on an unmistaken consciousness from an ordinary being that does not exist according to Madhyamika Prasangika, because it always appears as being of inherent existence. This is one of the most difficult points from within tongue election when opposing to the views of the Madhyamika Thubten Trika. It's a very difficult point. So it's important to understand of the correct view of great Chandrakirti. However, we must know that the 5th century consciousness of ordinary beings are mistaken, since their 5 respective objects appears to them as if they were able to stand on their own, though they are not able to, and are valid with respect to the appearance of those 5 being established by their own characteristics. For that reason, they are poised as valid cognizer, which can poise the things at a conventional level. They are a mistaken perception because phenomena appears as being of inherent existence. The objects of perception of matter. At this moment, what it means, the perception of matter, of objects. When the 5 objects of the 5 appears to the mind as a matter object, that's correct perception. The objects of the 5 senses, they are matter in this way. That's why we say that from they established as being merely labeled. So in a conventional level, it is a correct mind. We need to be clearly understand what we need to block and what we need to realize, what we need to establish. For that reason, there possess valid cognizers which can avoid things at a conventional level. It is a little more difficult aspects, but you need to understand clearly about it. Furthermore, many people think it is taught that one should not negate the person, the being, the self. It is the truly existent person that one should negate. So they, in the equal placement, attempt to negate a mentally invented person, mentally invented self, from being truly existent, while leaving the actual self as concrete. That would be totally infeasible and an extreme of eternalism. There is much more to say, but fearing that it will be so much, I have preferred limiting it here. So, during the state of meditation, while meditating single-pointedly in emptiness, meditating on the selflessness of the self, the emptiness of the self within the state of meditation. When some leave the actual self and they just have like an idealized image of the self that to be negated. So, they are not negating the actual self that appears of inherent existence, but just a mental image of that, just a mentally created, idealized, inherent existent self. That's why the self or it will appear as being of inherent existence, or to be within the state of emptiness of being lack of inherent existence. But it should be meditating on the self itself and not on a mental image of a self. So I will not go on so much because of the pain of making it too long. I have preferred limiting here. The following is a presentation of the mode in which the good path, free from the extremes of eternal analysis, is manifested by meditating on that way. So he's saying there are many other ways of explaining, but if I go on too much, it will become too long, so I'm going to make it short. The following is a presentation of the mode in which the good path, free from the extreme of eternal innocence, is manifested, as it says in the root text. An illusion, at that time, the noble path of seeing, the emptiness and dependent arising in a single meaning, is actualized in example, to realize that the appearance of things does not obstruct the state of being empty, and the state of their being empty does not stop their appearance. So similar, the great Lama Chopa said, as long as the two, the comprehension of the appearance, that is, the infallible dependent arising and the acceptance of emptiness, appear individually as separate, one has no realization of the view of the Buddha. Eventually, without our turning to the two, when all objects of the mode of apprehension of the conception of true existence is destroyed by the knowledge that ascertains the two simultaneously just by seeing the dependent rising as infallible, the analysis regarding the view is completed. So by writing So by following this presentation, by doing meditation, by following the free path, an illusion at a time or the noble path of seeing the emptiness of dependent rising, which is phenomena as they appear. It's not that phenomena do not exist completely, but they appear as if they exist. So by following this presentation, by doing meditation, by following the free path, an illusion at a time or the noble path of seeing the emptiness of dependent rising, which is phenomena as they appear. It's not that phenomena do not exist completely, it's Emptiness and interdependence are of the same nature. When reaching higher realizations, they will see once at once. Whenever emptiness appears to the mind, appears interdependence. Whenever appears interdependent, appears emptiness to the mind. Seeing them as not being separately, as being of the same meaning. Just as Lama Chopa said, the three main aspects of the path. As long as the two when realizing the emptiness of inherent existence and the interdependent as being separated, one has not yet realized the view of Buddha Shakyamuni. Once realizing the lack of inherent existence, the emptiness of the lack of inherent existence, and the unfailable interdependent, when they are seen as separately, have not realized the view of Buddha. Eventually, when you're able to see emptiness but not able to see interdependence, or vice versa, whenever it is in this way, whenever it appears as too simply separated, then this is not the view of Buddha Shakyamuni. Have not realized the view of Buddha Shakyamuni. Eventually, without altering the two, when the object of the mode of apprehension of the conception of true existence is destroyed, without alternating the two. Alternating means first seeing the emptiness, and then interdependence, and then emptiness, and then interdependence, not in this way together. By seeing emptiness, you understand interdependence. By seeing interdependence, you see emptiness. By the knowledge that ascertains the two simultaneously, just as by seeing the dependent arising as infallible, the analysis regarding the view is completed. At that time, the analysis regarding the view is completed. When you see that emptiness and interdependence is the same, that at that point is when you realize the completed realization of the view. With great joy deeply from the mind, that when you have realized the view, with deep joy from within, without any unpleasant feeling from the mind. It is when you have completed the view. Also Chandrakirti in the middle way saying, likewise, although all things are empty, they are strongly produced from emptiness, because of not existing inherently in the either of the two truths. They are neither eternal nor annihilated. Also Nagarjuna said, knowing things as very empty and knowing the fact that causes the result are feasible is the most amazing among the amazements and the most excellent among emptiness. So we will stop here for today. There is not much left for the text. We will end it easily. There's not much to explain. I'm just explaining according to my own understanding. Most maybe there are some things which I'm not explaining the correct way. There are many mistakes. But I am explaining the best of my carefully. So I'm explaining carefully towards you. But when we truly think about it, in order for the teachings of Mahamudra to develop, we are creating causes and positive interdependence for the Mahamudra of Ganden whisper lineage to develop. We are creating causes truly for the Mahamudra of the Ganden to develop. So we're very fortunate that it's extremely special. So by thinking this way, today we stop here. So whatever which I have explained, please kindly put it into practice. We dedicate the merits that we have created for the benefit of the teachings and all sentient beings. Especially may the teachings of Lama Chopa remain for long and spread to this world. We now make the mandala offering as a sign of gratitude to Ganden Mahamudra for having shared us the teachings of the Mahamudra. of the Ganden whispered lineage.
Choeling Gyaltsen nganzo ni gemju shue la lama di pa sungwen solo la nganzo